course, they worked out wonderfully. And some of the great promotional videos that the listeners have probably seen, like, for example, for my shows, Anton has done, with iDigital, has done some great promotional videos for my shows, The Soup Kitchen and Audrey's Mixtape Show, and also the Surgemasters, and basically everybody on Fusion. Although, as you mentioned, Charlotte Blanchard is a terrific graphic artist who's also done some album covers for Whitworth and for Kindred and herself.
I love the EP cover that she designed for Zach.
Yes, it's great. It really is. Yeah,
it's got every single element there, but they aren't. You don't have to look for them too hard, but they are there. It's just catching, and it's some. Charlotte, hopefully, we haven't spoken to really about it much, but we want her to design some of our artwork.
Give Anton a break.
Yeah, well, it's not just about giving me a break, it's good to bring other individuals on board, and this is what the Surgemasters sessions are going to become eventually.
Yeah, I want to talk about that after the next song in the fourth segment. I do want to talk about what Surgemaster Sessions is going to be and other things like that. But now, since we were just, let's talk about the song that's coming up and how its similarities too. It isn't directly related to that I know of. The song we were just discussing, which was from Whitworth's EP, New Beginning, which was She Was a Flower. Now, this is the only track on Whitworth's EP where you actually got vocals. And Zach, I'm assuming that you wrote those lyrics and performed those vocals yourself, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And there is one on the new Surgemasters EP that is a personal favorite of mine. This is much more, I loved She Was a Flower, but this is way past that. This is just really cleverly worded, and the delivery is just on point. It's just a wonderful track that we're going to be hearing in a minute, and it has a little bit of an edge. I like the downright angry tone of She Was a Flower. This one's a little bit backed off from that, still full of piss and vinegar, as I said, but this is kind of like the I don't give a attitude. And it's a very funny song and a very high-energy song, which Zach is telling us about his world tour, his vacation plans. He's going to run around the world because he doesn't care, and he's going to just do all kinds of fun things, and you hear a lot of different locales mentioned, and it's just a really terrific track, and it's the only one that I know of so far, and I think I've heard them all from the forthcoming Surgemasters album that has vocals and lyrics per se, and that in itself makes it unique. So we've got
one, that's all.
Just the one, yeah. So we've got the one song here with vocals and lyrics by Zach Whitworth on the Surgemasters album and your upcoming record, and you're going to love this one. This one is called Gypsy.
Next in line is Peru. I hit up the Andes and head to Machu Picchu. Haiti is the place that I'll stop next. Learn some voodoo and use it on my ex. I spent winter in Cuba with a little luck, 'cause I don't give a fuck. Hit the slopes with a flash.
right, and that was Gypsy by the Surgemasters, with lyrics and vocals by Zach Whitworth. And I just love that one. I mean, the phrasing, the timing, the delivery of it is so slick, and did a terrific job with that, both on the lyrical front and how you spit those dope lyrics. All right, so we really love that one. But the rest of it is instrumental, but it's not the same. That's what's amazing about this record. This is not just an electronic dance music record. This is a proper album. This is the kind of album, I mean, this is not something you throw on at a rave and everyone's on ecstasy and no one really hears what's going on. This is an album you actually sit and listen to and enjoy. And the day he gave it to me and the day after, I listened to it 3 times through. And that's something I would probably never do with an EDM album. But I really had a good time with this one and kept listening to it because it's changing. It's offering different dimensions with every track. All right, so how did the songs actually come about? You mentioned somebody would lay down something and throw it to the other guy, but does a lot of this work take place long distance? I think you were saying before a lot of that it was originally long distance because that's how most collabs work in the indie music world. I've never met any of the people face to face that I've worked with, and there's been a dozen at least. But you have gotten together on both sides of the pond and probably not getting a lot of work done, but maybe a little bit of refining, a little bit of mixing. But now you're together in your studio, Zach, right? You're putting a studio together?
Yep, that's right.
And
yeah, what we're doing basically now is rehearsing for live performance. We'll write tracks together, or sometimes Anton will write an entire one, and I'll write something like I did Gypsy and Destiny. And Anton's Trance Dancer. We do some separate tracks, but we do collaborate on a lot of them. But right now it's more working with what we have. Anton's given me some pointers on mastering stuff myself, and DJing too. Yeah, so we're working on some of that kind of stuff. But then setting the studio up and actually rehearsing live performance, rehearsing our original music. DJing is one thing.
It's an accessory. That's all. It's just an extra. Sometimes I don't know what it is, but when I go see an act, I like continuation, and when they step off stage, that's too long.
Yeah, so the DJing.
So the DJ is there as a fill-in. It can be there as a beginning or not, or it can be there as a middle piece and an ending, a final ending after us, the Surgemasters ourselves. And the difference being is that when we're DJing, we'd have already semi-kind of mixed majority of what we want on our track list. But then what we're doing on top of that, we're actually out playing through our little devices, controllers. It's just that we're not front of the house playing around with our guitars and jumping around like crazy.
Yeah, not in the DJ sessions anyhow.
But what we intend to do eventually with the DJ sessions is that every time we DJ anywhere, whether it's to ourselves or anything, we're going to try and get a video podcast station up and running, which then eventually that will be a bit of an opener where we can maybe pass on some skills as mastering classes eventually. So there's going to be plenty to do. The Surgemasters is not just us and the music. There is a bigger thing there which will hopefully get us through retirement.
Yeah, it all works together, hopefully through retirement. Yeah. But it all works together. And the original stuff we're playing, it's all about a live performance. I think playing EDM is it's hard to find a lot of people that want to play instruments and things, but we want to keep a pretty strong live performance as far as I'm playing the piano and the guitar, and Anton's playing the bass and electronic drum kit and things like that.
But we've got a real good acoustic drummer coming on board,
and we're working with an acoustic drummer, Brent Ferry. Yeah. So he'll join us on some of our live shows. But it's about the live performance to us right now with the original stuff, and so we're trying to figure out exactly how to set things up in the studio now, and that's being a fun project, but we're gonna set everything up for dress rehearsal, for rehearsing for performances, giving a good live performance where we are playing instruments and things to a point too, along with the electronic side of things.
Yeah, I mean, we can do an extra interview called Part 2 in about 10 days' time, and all you'll hear down the phone is...
Now, that's actually very exciting what you're talking about, because that is not something that you would expect to see. And, I mean, I don't know what Skrillex does live or anything like that, but I'm assuming you don't get that live band thing. A guy scratching on a turntable a guy scratching on a turntable is not really that compelling a live show. But when you add a drummer, there's a real flesh and blood. That's something that gets your blood pumping, just seeing somebody hitting on the drums. And with the guitars, with players actually moving around, and live music, that is something that you don't see every day. And I think electronic music or keyboard music can be like, take Emerson, Lake and Palmer, for example. Predominantly the lead instrument is keyboard, and they did a very dynamic live show, and it was a very exciting thing to see. And they viewed the way Greg Lake used to talk about it was very similar to what you're saying. He would say that the record is kind of like a check, it's kind of like a promise to pay, but the live performance was really the payoff. I don't agree with that exactly, because, if you never see them live, you still enjoy the records. But I love the fact that you're talking about it all culminating in a live performance, because it's missing a lot in this world, especially when it comes to electronic music. And I would love to see that come out, and I'm thrilled that you're talking about doing that, putting on a good live show, and instead of just putting out records, which is all perfectly well too. But
it's more exciting when you see something live. I mean, it brings the record out.
It does. It
sounds you understand the people playing it, and it adds to the artistic experience and enjoyment of it.
I mean, from our point of view as well, as musicians, we're both really sharp producers, and there is no other word for it, as far as I'm concerned. So when we do anything musically, it's got everything, heart and soul. Otherwise, we just don't do it.
Exactly, and that comes out on the record. There's a lot of energy on the record. It isn't as if somebody set up a machine and it's just making music, which is, I like the electronic music and everything, but sometimes it doesn't have a real, a real band, a real musical sound to it,
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many very badly mistakes done in the industry. Sadly, I was one of those machines.
Well, it's flesh and blood. That's the thing. Now the flesh and blood aspect of it is there. And
but there is no fun in it. But doing that kind of music live, there is no fun in it. Our music, which I class it as classical EDM, where we enjoy it.